Hey, my name is Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be going over the differences between being an undergrad and being a grad or a postgrad at the University of Oxford, because even though you're both going to the same uni, you will have experiences that are going to be slightly different, and I'll just list all of them right now so that if you are heading into Oxford as a grad or as an undergrad, you sort of know where the differences lay. Let's get into it. Living in college. So most postgrads who will go into Oxford will not end up living in that college, as most colleges are mixed, which means that they have both undergrads and postgrads in the same college, and often the colleges cannot house everyone who is part of their college, and priority, generally speaking, will be given to first years and last years on their undergraduate degree to actually live in college. However, you might run into a situation where there's a mixed college that has slightly different rules, or that is trying to get as many graduates in their college as possible, at least the graduate freshers. But generally speaking, as a graduate, you will not be living in your college. If it is something that you find incredibly important, you can also opt in to apply for a graduate only college, as in those colleges you will be living in college, as it is a graduate only college, or at least you have a higher chance of ending up in your college. Not to worry though, there is loads of options through the Oxford Graduate Accommodation Office. They have tons of buildings where you will be living with other graduates as well. Gowns. There are different types of gowns. If you're looking at Cambridge, you'll see that every single college has their own gown. In Oxford, this is a bit more standardized. In essence, we have two types of gowns that you'll see around most commonly, which is the commonest gown, and there is an undergrad version of it and there is a grad version of it. The undergrad version will cover right up to where your legs about-ish start, so your fingertips, something along those lines in terms of length, while the graduate one will go all the way down to your knees. It doesn't have any sleeves, but it does have like the streamers. I'll insert a photo of it. However, you might have seen that there is a couple of students roaming around with gowns with sleeves that are like about knee length-ish. Those are scholars gowns. Generally, students that wear a scholars gown got a first on their prelims in first year, and therefore they get a tiny scholarship from their college, which then means that they get a scholarship, so hence therefore they're allowed to wear a scholars gown. Another popular route into a scholar's gown is being an organ scholar. So if you are playing the organ for your college, you also get a scholarship for that, and hence you're allowed to wear the scholar's gown. MCR and JCR. As an undergrad, you will be a member of the JCR, which stands for the Junior Common Room, which refers to a physical space, the undergraduate student body, and the committee that organizes events for you as an undergrad. When you are a grad, you will be a member of the MCR, which is the Middle Common Room. And now you're wondering if that's the middle one, there should be another one. And yes, there is. There is the SCR, which is the Senior Common Room, and that one is for fellows. And fellows generally are the people who teach at your college, so your professors essentially. MCR refers similarly as JCR to the graduate student body in this sense, because it's the grads one, to the committee organizing events for the grads in this case, and the physical space, which is the MCR, like a physical common room, but this one is only for grads. As a member of the MCR, you sort of automatically are a member of the JCR as well. It sort of depends per college how it's arranged, but generally speaking, it means that as a grad, you will be able to enter both the physical spaces for the JCR and the MCR. How well the JCR and the MCR mix together in organizing activities very much depends on each college. You'll see colleges where they share a bunch of activities, and you'll see colleges where the two unities are a bit more separate. Teaching. Undergrads are generally taught by their fellows in college, so you're studying your degree effectively at your college. But the problem is that for graduates, they require way much more specialization, and therefore colleges cannot cater towards that. So therefore all the teaching is organized centrally for grads, which means that as a grad you'll have most of your seminars at your department building. You will not necessarily be taught in your college, nor will your professors or fellows attend the college that you're a part of. However, as an undergrad, you also run into large lectures which you will have with everybody doing your course, and obviously those will not be held in college, those will be held in lecture halls. So even as an undergrad, you'll find that you also sometimes have to go elsewhere for a large lecture. But generally speaking, all your teaching will be done in your college, or maybe at a different college if you pick a certain elective or something along those lines. Tutorials. The famous Oxford teaching system is a bit less prevalent in the graduate community. Most undergrads will have weekly tutorials together with their tutor partner or partners where you will discuss the essays or the problem sheets that you have worked on during the week. For graduates, the teaching is more seminar based, or at least in my experience it was. But not to worry, because you'll still get plenty of one-on-one time, but it's more in a working with sense, especially when you're working on like a PhD or you're working on your dissertation or you get feedback on something else. It's very much working with instead of solely being challenged on your ideas, if that makes sense. The international community. The international community is actually way larger for graduates, as for some reason that is just more people deciding to do their master's degree abroad instead of their entire bachelor's degree. So as an undergraduate student, you'll find that most of your peers will be from the UK. However, if you're a graduate, you'll find that it's way more 50-50 of where people came from, and depending on the course that you're doing, it could be a way more international or a bit less international. I feel that modern languages is probably not a very international course, but there definitely were courses that were absolutely crazy international. Course length. While most undergraduates going into Oxford are starting a 3 or 4 year journey towards their degree, for graduates it's a bit different, as you have 1 year graduate degrees, you have 2 year graduate degrees, and obviously you have PhDs, which are way longer, which means that you actually have a higher turnover of students. So if you are at college and as a 2 year master student or as a PhD student, you'll find that there is a lot more like movement within your graduate community, as all the 1 year master students sort of disappear after a year and then the new ones come in. While this is not really the case with undergraduates, so I think looking at the people around me, that it's easier to form like a very strong like year bond within like an undergraduate degree than as a master student, because there is a bit more of turnover in terms of students. Age. So this is actually a very small difference. Obviously master students will be slightly older than undergraduates as you start your degree after your undergraduate, but that's not my point. My point is that you'll find more like, I don't want to say like random people because they're not random, but you'll find more random older people. You're more likely to bump into a 50-year-old on your course as a graduate student than an undergraduate student, or you're more likely to bump into a PhD student who is actually retired but still decided to do a PhD, which is not necessarily the case as an undergrad. Obviously you do see them, but they're definitely more of a rarity than in the graduate student community. Then the last one, you'll find you sort of have 3 types of graduate students, and in that sense I just mean master students. You'll have a group of master students that are doing an integrated master's degree, so therefore they have essentially like a 4-year bachelor's degree which will award them with a master's degree, if that makes sense. So you have them who get sort of add on into your MCR world, and they obviously already have a bunch of friends. They have been there for like 3 years, they have like an established friend group, they sort of know how things work. Then you have a group of graduates who actually finished a bachelor's degree and then applied within Oxford for their masters and got in that way. And you'll find obviously the type that I was, which is just a random student coming in from elsewhere to do their master's degree. And this does not really happen as an undergraduate, as everybody essentially comes in fresh. So some grads in the graduate community are a bit like less fresh, I suppose. That does not sound great, but are a bit less fresh than actual like graduate freshers. So these were all the differences that I have experienced or seen around me or heard about while I was at Oxford. I hope you found this a helpful sort of comparison so that you know what you're getting yourself into. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.